There's something about the sound of a doorbell that sets off your instincts, especially when it rings on a Tuesday night, when you're halfway through correcting midterm essays and your wife's in the kitchen rhythmically chopping vegetables like she's auditioning for Top Chef, passive-aggressive edition. 7:43 p.m., to be exact. I remember the time because my red grading pen was still warm in my hand, and I had just written the word redundant for the 5th time on a sophomore's essay titled Why Shakespeare is Kinda Mid. The knock came again. 2 short buzzes, like it had something urgent to say. I opened the door and saw a kid standing there, tall, maybe 18, awkward in a way that felt both familiar and suspicious. Same dark hair as me. Same stubborn set to the jaw. His voice cracked when he spoke. Mr. Keller? That's me. I'm Eli. Eli Brenner. I think. I'm your son. Let me tell you, nothing knocks the wind out of you faster than a stranger claiming to be your offspring, especially when you were under the impression your DNA hadn't been spreading itself around like confetti at a graduation party. From behind me came the rhythm of knife against cutting board. Monica, my wife, was prepping dinner like nothing was wrong. For now, I managed a neutral nod. How old are you? 18. Born January 8, 2008. My mom was Jessica Brenner. University of Michigan. I blinked. That was a name I hadn't heard in 2 decades. A 3-week college fling. The kind you file under ancient history and assume has no sequel. And then came the photograph. Eli pulled it from his pocket, folded, worn, and cruelly clear. Me, looking young and unaware. Jessica beside me, smiling like she knew more than I did. And the date written on the back aligned perfectly. That's when Monica walked in. She didn't scream, didn't faint, just stared. First at the boy, then at me. And then her dish towel hit the floor like a gavel. You're what? I didn't know, I said, my mouth suddenly full of sand. Jessica never told me. She tried, Eli said quietly. You had already transferred schools. It should have helped. The whole I didn't know bit. But Monica's fury wasn't interested in timelines. It was hungry, ancient, biblical. You cheated, she hissed. I didn't, I said. This was years before us. You don't get to technically your way out of this. By the time she was dialing her sister and then her lawyer, I already had my weekend bag in my hand. The same bag we used for lake trips and anniversary weekends. Now it held only zippers and endings. I left without much more than my name and my keys. I didn't even take a toothbrush. Eli watched me from the motel parking lot across from the Holiday Inn Express. Room 214. I didn't knock. Not yet. Instead, I sat in the car, heater humming, phone in my lap. It buzzed once. A message from Monica, please don't come back. Not angry. Not dramatic. Just definitive. That was the moment I realized something had cracked. Not loud. Just clean. The motel room was beige. That special kind of beige that feels like it was designed by someone who hated joy. 2 queen beds, 1 lamp, 1 man unraveling in slow motion. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling like it owed me answers. I thought about the photo. About Jessica. About the look in Eli's eyes, that unsettling mix of hope and apology. Mostly, I thought about Monica. We'd built 20 years together. Mortgages. Thanksgiving arguments. Joint passwords. She used to steal the fries off my plate and call it marriage tax. Now she wouldn't even speak to me in full sentences. The next morning, I called Eli. He sounded surprised. Like maybe he thought I'd ghost him too. Breakfast? I asked. Sure, he said. There's a Waffle House across the street. Good. I don't trust people who skip breakfast. We sat in a corner booth, the kind where the vinyl sticks to your back and the waitress calls you Han. He ordered chocolate chip pancakes with confidence. I just had coffee and questions. You said your mom tried to tell me, I said. Yeah, Eli said, poking his pancakes. She sent a letter to your old dorm. It came back unopened. That checked out. I'd transferred halfway through sophomore year, following a scholarship and a sense of escape. I thought I was running toward opportunity. Turns out I left something behind, something permanent. You want a test? Eli asked. DNA? Yes, I said. Not because I don't believe you. Because Monica won't believe me without it. He nodded, then passed me the syrup. The ease of it, the way he already knew how I took my coffee, how he mimicked my habit of lining up the silverware, was unnerving. After breakfast, we drove to a clinic. Swabs. Paperwork. The nurse didn't even flinch when I said, I may or may not be this young man's father. She just handed me a clipboard like it was Tuesday. Which, funnily enough, it still was. Back at the motel, Monica texted again. I need time. I stared at those 3 words like they were written in hieroglyphs. Time to do what, exactly? Reconsider the life we'd built? Or erase me from it? The next day, I went home to collect a few more things. Monica wasn't there. But the silence was. The kind that hums in your bones. I stood in the kitchen for a long time. The cutting board was still out. Half a cucumber in the trash. 1 fork missing from the drawer. That fork, my favorite one, the slightly crooked tine, was always in the dishwasher because I always used it. But it was gone. Not in the sink. Not in the washer. Not in the drying rack. It's the little things, isn't it? The tiny ghosts. That's when I saw it. A second wine glass in the sink. Lipstick stain I didn't recognize. Not Monica's usual shade. I stood there holding a sock, mine, unmatched, slightly frayed at the heel, and wondered when exactly my life became a scavenger hunt for betrayal. I sat in the car with that wine glass image stuck in my head like a splinter. Lipstick. Not Monica's color. Not a brand I'd ever seen on our bathroom shelf. Definitely not from the wedding red she wore to our anniversary dinner last year. That shade was called devotion. This one looked more like regret. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. So naturally, I leapt right into the deep end of suspicion. I told myself it was probably her sister, or a neighbor, or a wine-loving delivery woman with questionable boundaries. But then the second text came. If you come back, I won't be here. Monica wasn't angry anymore. She was cold, efficient, like she'd swapped her heart out for a to-do list. The DNA results would take 2 weeks, but I already knew what they'd say. Eli was mine. And the more I sat with that, the more it felt like the only honest thing in my life. I started thinking back. Over the last year, maybe longer. The changes. The extra gym visits. The sudden need for privacy. The new phone passcode she never bothered to hide until she did. And then it hit me. She hadn't been blindsided by Eli. She'd been looking for a way out long before he showed up. He just gave her an excuse. A moral exit ramp she could take without admitting she'd been emotionally MIA for months. I checked our shared calendar. We didn't use it much anymore, but old habits die slow. She had something blocked out for Friday afternoon. Meeting, personal. No location. No details. Just personal. Now, call me paranoid, but that felt like a red flag wrapped in a gift bag labeled none of your business. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I just waited. Friday, 1:42 p.m., I parked near her favorite coffee shop, the one she used to drag me to for overpriced lattes and passive-aggressive life advice. That's where I saw him. Tall. Confident. Wearing joggers like someone auditioning for the role of guy who texts your wife at midnight. He hugged her. She laughed. The same laugh I hadn't heard since last fall, the one with actual teeth in it. They sat together, side by side on the outdoor patio. 2 drinks. 1 phone. Her smile. His hand on her knee like it belonged there. And I just sat in my car, feeling like a ghost watching his own life through a window. I didn't take pictures. I didn't need to. The image was already burned in. When she got home that night, she didn't mention the meeting. Just asked if I wanted anything from the fridge. As if I just walked in from mowing the lawn and not from watching her build a second life 2 zip codes away. No, I said. I'm good. She smiled. Suit yourself. Suit myself. That's what I'd been doing for weeks now. And I was about to start suiting myself in ways she'd never see coming. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't knock. It just walks in like it owns the place and changes the locks while you're still figuring out where you left your keys. By the time I watched Monica laugh with that man outside the cafe, I knew 2 things. She wasn't mine anymore. I'd been replaced long before Eli ever showed up. But here's the part that surprised me. I didn't feel shattered. Not anymore. I'd already done my crumbling in the motel room, in the Waffle House, in the moment I held a crooked fork and realized someone else had held it too. Now, I felt surgical. Sharp. Focused. I didn't want revenge, not the messy, dramatic kind that ends with plates flying and apologies made over court-ordered counseling sessions. No, I wanted something cleaner. Something that didn't look like revenge at all. So I started planning. Quietly. I began with our accounts. We didn't have kids, just shared investments and one aging Labrador named Jasper, who clearly liked me more and didn't even try to hide it. Monica handled the bills, but I managed the long-term money. IRAs. Stocks. The cabin in Traverse City that we never used but always claimed we'd retire to. I didn't touch anything just yet. I just made notes. Updated passwords. Took screenshots. Forwarded documents to a secure folder she didn't know existed. Then I turned my attention to the house. We'd built it together, or so I used to say. Truth is, I built it. She decorated it. Her touch was on every throw pillow, every candle, every live, laugh, love sign that made our living room look like a waiting room for midlife crises. My touch was under the surface, tile laid with my hands, shelves I measured and cut myself, the garage door she never learned how to program. I made this place run. She made it pretty. That gave me options. I started small. Took my tools out of the garage, one by one. Then my books. Then the box labeled Adam's junk that held every old movie stub and love note she used to leave in my lunch bag. I didn't throw them out. I just put them in the trunk of my car like evidence. Which, in a way, they were. The kicker? She didn't even notice. And maybe that's what sealed it. That she didn't ask. That she didn't feel the empty spaces forming around her. The next Friday, I saw them again. Not at the coffee shop. This time, outside a yoga studio she'd never once mentioned. He was waiting for her, same joggers, same confident posture, like a guy who owned a golden retriever and a white Jeep and had never been told no in his life. She came out glowing, like someone who'd just been praised. He kissed her temple. She smiled. Then they got in the same car. I didn't follow, because I didn't need to know where they were going. I already knew where she wasn't home. That night, when she walked in around 9:15 with a to-go bag and the same old excuse about drinks with Claire, I looked up from the kitchen table and asked, "Did Claire start wearing cologne?" Monica froze. Just for a second. But it was enough. "What?" "Never mind," I said. "Just smelled something new on you. Nice scent." She didn't respond. Just set the bag down, disappeared into the bathroom, and came out 15 minutes later in sweatpants like the night had never happened. But now she was on edge. Good. Let her feel the tightness in the air for once. Over the next week, I did everything a man preparing to vanish should do. I opened a P.O. box. Found a small rental apartment 2 towns over. Paid the deposit in cash. Packed only the things that were mine. Things she'd never think to miss. My college hoodie. My childhood baseball glove. The shaving kit my dad gave me before he passed. Things with roots. I even started calling Eli more often. Not out of guilt, but because, ironically, he was the only real thing left. We met up again at the park near his motel. I brought coffee. He brought news. "Mom always said you weren't the type to stick around," he said, tossing a football lightly between his hands. "She didn't think you'd ever find out." "I didn't. You found me." "She was wrong," he said with a shrug. "You're here." That stuck with me more than it should have. By Friday, I was ready. Monica left early that morning, claimed she had a networking brunch. I gave her a kiss on the cheek that she barely registered. I smiled. She didn't even look back. That afternoon, I executed the plan. Not with drama. With intention. I moved the last of my things. Took down our wedding photo from the hallway wall and left it face down on the dining table. I didn't take anything that wasn't mine, except the crooked fork. That came with me. I left her a note. Not handwritten. Just printed, 1 line, size 14 Arial. "Don't worry. You'll laugh more now." I walked out of the house we built, got in my car, and didn't look back. I didn't leave the state. I didn't go off the grid. I just disappeared from her story. No scene. No confrontation. No final plea for her to choose me again. Because she already had. And she chose someone else. Monica got home at 6:17 p.m. I know because the doorbell cam caught it. She didn't even glance at the porch light I'd left on out of habit. Keys jingling, one bag slung over her shoulder, her sunglasses still perched on top of her head like she was too important to fully re-enter reality. I wasn't there to see it, but I didn't need to be. I could imagine the sequence. The silence. The stillness. The missing pair of sneakers by the door. The faint whiff of something gone. She probably called out, casual at first. "Adam." Nothing. Then maybe she tried again, louder. "Adam." Still nothing. She'd walk into the living room and notice the photo missing from the wall. Not the empty spot. It wasn't like I left a chalk outline. Just the quiet void. The wall was bare, but not barren. Just clean. That's what I'd been aiming for. A clean break. No shattered glass. No yelling matches. Just an absence she couldn't talk her way out of. She texted me at 6:22. "Where are you?" Then again at 6:25. "Why is your stuff gone?" Then 6:30. "What the hell is this?" I didn't answer. I was eating takeout from a Thai place near my new apartment, watching old black and white movies on mute like I was trying to live in a world where betrayal still came with consequences and everyone wore hats. At 7:02, she called. I let it ring. Then came voicemail number 1. Adam, I don't know what kind of game this is, but if this is about Eli, I already told you I just needed space to process. Click. Deleted. Not in the mood for her to edit her own story. At 8:15, she tried again. This isn't funny, okay? You can't just walk out. We have a life. Funny. That was the first time she'd acknowledged that in months. By 9:30, the tone had shifted. Are you at Eli's? Is that what this is now? You're playing Dad of the Year, and I'm supposed to. What, just sit here? That one I replayed. Twice. Not for content. For tone. That sound behind her voice. It wasn't panic. It wasn't guilt. It was confusion. See, Monica never believed I'd leave. Not really. She thought she could push, prod, chip away at me, and I'd just keep standing there like a dented mailbox in a storm. Steady. Reliable. Forgettable. She didn't realize I'd already left months ago. I just hadn't packed yet. Saturday morning, I woke to 5 new texts. I need to understand. Can we meet? Just talk. Please. You didn't even give me a chance to explain. It wasn't what it looked like. That one made me laugh. A full, honest laugh. I hadn't done that in weeks. Because here's the thing about Monica. She was a master at controlling narratives. She didn't lie outright. She just rewrote the ending and hoped you forgot how the story started. When she cheated, it wouldn't be cheating. It would be complicated. When she flirted, it wasn't betrayal. It was harmless. When she laughed at his jokes more than mine, I was just too sensitive. But now, there was no one to talk her back into being right. No audience. No atom-shaped doormat to absorb the fallout. Just an empty house and a crooked fork-shaped hole. By Sunday, the text stopped. I figured she was regrouping, writing a speech. Something with big words like closure and healing. She always did love a clean label for a messy truth. Instead, she tried a different tactic. She called Eli. I know because he texted me right after. Hey, she reached out. Seemed upset. You want me to say anything? I told him to be polite. Civil, but not to answer questions about me. Don't let her use you to find me. I added. You deserve better than being her back channel. He sent a thumbs up. Then another message. For what it's worth, you're doing the right thing. Funny how an 18-year-old stranger could see me clearer than the woman who spent 2 decades sharing my pillow. That afternoon, I went back to the house. Not to talk, just to finish. I waited until I knew she'd be at work. She'd always been predictable that way. I still had my garage code. Still knew which key stuck if you didn't jiggle it just right. The air inside was stale. The kind of stale that says no one's spoken the truth in a while. I walked through quietly, collecting the last things. The books I'd boxed up weeks ago. The toolbox. My signed Tigers baseball. In the bedroom, I paused. Her side of the bed was unmade. Mine was untouched. She'd been sleeping alone. There, on the nightstand, was my note. Still folded. Still unread. Figures. I left a second one. Smaller. Just 3 words. No need to explain. Then I took Jasper's leash from the hook. He wagged his tail like he'd been waiting for this moment all year. As I closed the door behind me, I didn't feel angry. I felt finished. And that, for the first time in months, felt good. You ever watch someone try to rewrite the ending while the book's already been published? That was Monica now, scribbling over the margins of our marriage like a deadline just snuck up on her. The silence I left behind. It started echoing. By Tuesday, the apology phase kicked in. Not genuine regret. No, that would require admitting fault. This was PR damage control, Monica style. First, a voice message. Hey, I've been thinking a lot. I want to take responsibility for my part in everything. Pause. I know I've been distant. I know I've made mistakes. But you leaving like that? That wasn't fair either. Ah, there it is. The pivot. Like clockwork. It wasn't an apology. It was a collaboration pitch, co-authorship of the blame. I didn't respond. So she sent a photo. One of our anniversary dinners, from years ago. Me in a too tight blazer. Her in a dress she said made her feel dangerously elegant. The caption? Just one word. Remember? Yeah, I remembered. I remembered every time she'd laughed with someone else, then came home quiet. I remembered how she'd stopped reaching for my hand in public. I remembered standing beside her at parties where I introduced myself as her husband and people looked surprised. But mostly, I remembered not feeling like home anymore. I let the photo sit unread. Thursday, she upped the ante. She posted a photo of Jasper, our dog, sitting in the kitchen next to his empty food bowl. The caption? He misses you. Manipulation in the shape of a golden retriever. I'd already taken Jasper with me. She hadn't fed him in years. Didn't walk him. Didn't even know he hated carrots. I didn't respond. Not to her, not to the likes, not to the flood of mutual friends who started texting me out of nowhere. Monica seems really broken up about this. She says you just left. No warning. You okay, man? It's fascinating, isn't it? You can share a life with someone for 2 decades, but the moment they control the narrative, you become a rumor in your own story. So I got ahead of it. I posted one thing, one photo. It was a simple shot, Jasper on a hiking trail, tongue out, tail up. Behind him, my boot prints. A quiet morning. Caption read, "Sometimes the best thing you can do is leave without slamming the door." No names. No hashtags. No accusations. It spread anyway. People started piecing it together. A few mutuals messaged me privately. Did something happen? Monica's saying it's just a rough patch. She posted an old pic of you two yesterday, said she's holding space. Holding space. The poetic way to say stalling for sympathy while I scramble to clean my conscience. I still didn't answer. I was done participating in her stage show. Meanwhile, Eli texted again. You okay? She's asking about you. A lot. I replied. I'm good. Don't let her make you the middle. You deserve a clean start. He didn't say much after that. Just a simple, thanks. I get it now. Funny thing. Every conversation I had with Eli felt more adult than anything Monica and I managed in the last year of our marriage. By Friday, she cracked. I heard it in her voicemail. Her voice didn't break. That wasn't her style. But it shook, just slightly, like someone who wasn't used to being the one left. Adam, I need you to understand something. This thing with the other person, it wasn't real. It was a mistake. I was confused. You didn't see what I was dealing with. There it was. The classic defense. If you had just understood me better, I wouldn't have betrayed you. She always needed to be the hero of her story. But now, her main character had walked off stage. Left her monologue hanging. She sent another photo. This time, it was her alone. No makeup. Tear tracks. Same kitchen background. The caption read, I just want to come home. But she wasn't asking. She was announcing. Expecting the world to rally around her return. Monica didn't beg. She performed vulnerability. And hoped someone, me, would rush in to write the next scene. But I'd already stopped auditioning. That weekend, I saw her in person for the first time in weeks. Not by design. Just one of those cosmic jokes. She was in the produce section of a local store, holding an avocado like it had personally betrayed her. She saw me before I saw her. Adam. I paused. Kept my hand on the apples. You look tired, she said. Like concern was something she just remembered how to fake. I sleep fine, I replied. Calm. Even. She took a step closer. Can we just talk? Somewhere quiet. We're somewhere quiet now. She blinked. This wasn't how she'd scripted it. I miss you. I smiled. Not kindly. You don't miss me, Monica. You miss the version of me that absorbed your silence. The one who never left. That guy's gone. She didn't reply right away. Just looked at the avocado again, as if it held a lifeline. I made mistakes, she whispered. So did I said. But mine didn't involve someone else's hotel room. That landed. She opened her mouth probably to defend, explain, rewrite. But I was already walking away. She didn't follow. And that? That was the first honest decision she'd made in months. After the grocery store, she went full PR crisis mode. Mutuals started reaching out more aggressively. Apparently, she was calling it a misunderstanding. Said I had walked out on the marriage like I left her for adventure, not survival. I didn't defend myself. I didn't need to. The silence did the talking. And slowly, people started listening. Even her own sister called me. Look, she said, I don't want to get involved, but she's not okay. Maybe she should have thought of that before trying to turn our marriage into a Netflix drama with guest stars. There was a pause. Then, carefully. She's been seeing a therapist. I almost smiled. That was her favorite move, seek professional validation only after the train's already off the rails and the passengers are halfway through filing lawsuits. Good for her, I said. But I'm not a therapist. I'm the guy she lied to. The message was clear. My life wasn't a PR salvage mission. It was a rebuild. Without her. I finished moving into the new apartment. Nothing fancy, just clean walls, working heat, and the kind of silence that didn't accuse me of being distant every time I blinked. I bought new dishes. A new set of silverware. No crooked fork. Jasper adjusted quickly. Maybe because I did. Walks became ritual. Coffee became therapy. Eli started stopping by once a week. No pressure, no expectations. Just a kid trying to figure out where he fits, and a man who finally had space to offer. Monica's texts dwindled. From emotional outbursts to delayed pleasantries. Just checking in. Hope you're okay. No, she wasn't. And I wasn't responding. Not because I wanted to punish her. Because I wasn't interested in re-enrolling in the same crash course on emotional erosion. Then came the final attempt. A letter. Handwritten. That alone made it feel like an artifact. It was 6 pages long. Full of excuses, revisionist history, and what I assume were meant to be heartfelt memories, vacations, birthdays, even inside jokes she once claimed to have forgotten. The last line read, "We can still fix this. If you want." I folded the letter carefully, slid it back into the envelope, wrote one line across the front in black ink. "You only wanted to fix it when you realized I wasn't broken." Then I dropped it back in her mailbox and walked away. Now for the fun part. See, I wasn't going to burn her world down. I wasn't going to scream her sins from rooftops. That wasn't me. But I could still make the truth echo. Remember the guy from the cafe? Joggers, charming smile, handsy optimism? Yeah, well, turns out he worked at her company. A mid-level executive with a paper-thin marriage of his own and a pension. He didn't want anyone snooping around. So I made sure someone did. An anonymous email, professionally worded, sent to the company's HR department. Subject, potential code of conduct violation. Attached, timestamps, location metadata, and one key photo of him and Monica during work hours, hand on thigh, her laughing like someone just told her betrayal was tax-deductible. I didn't even send it from my account. I paid for a one-time encrypted burner. No trace. No trail. What happened after that? I don't know exactly. But I do know Monica's LinkedIn changed 2 weeks later. Former senior communications director. I also know she stopped posting sunset selfies for a while. Reputation is like porcelain. When it cracks, you can glue it, sure. But it never shines quite the same. 6 months later, I got a message. From her. No paragraphs. No poems. Just this. "I finally understand what you meant by 'don't worry, you'll laugh more now.'" I stared at it. No anger. No nostalgia. Just peace. I didn't respond. Instead, I took Jasper for a walk, stopped by Eli's place for a beer, and later sat on my new porch watching the sunset over a city that didn't owe me anything. And that was it. No rage. No reckoning. Just a clean, deliberate exit. Because when someone treats your loyalty like a doormat, the cruelest thing you can do is take it with you and never come back.